All right, now we enter part 4 of our look into the ancient Scythians and their connections to the Amazons. Here's an interesting and revealing picture here too, showing an Amazon warrior here. And if you look at the group that's behind her, they're all kind of a blonde-haired guys with blue tattooing and stuff onto them. And man, don't they look all Celtish and everything, Then you can see her spear here that she's got, and of course she's tattooed all up. They even put her with some face paint on and so on, whether that's supposed to mean it's a tattoo or not. But another interesting sight seen into this too is she's wearing a primordial type chainmail on too, and this spear that she has, I found a lot of these spearheads, and a lot of them have a swastika upon them, and other symbols too, and feminine goddess symbols on them sometimes. And you can tell that this staff that's hooked up to it here, its stick, if you will, is carved a lot too, but we can't find any of those or the shields and things because they've long gone and rotted away in many cases. Very few of things like that still show up or have been found ever. But let's look into this here in part 4 as we'll try to start finishing it off. Tattooed Scythian warriors, descendants of the Amazon perhaps, part 4. Just as the Pazic culture greatly resembled Scythian culture, let's see if I can get that to a little bit better view for all of us here. To the west, I think, just as the Pazic culture greatly resembled the Scythian culture to the west, I think we can also see cultural similarities in the Norse and the Celtic peoples of the East Scythia, who, whether from intermingling in trade or migration, exhibit some of the same treatment of women until the spread of Rome and Christianity across Europe destroyed the native culture and purposely erased any pagan history, especially goddess worship. And I've done a recent video about how they're trying to outlaw runes now because third world migrants they're mad. Yeah, no one's trying to get them to get rid of any of their crap, but they want you to ruin your heritage and just forget it all because I got a little mad because I see your symbology. Of course, it attached to some other people and some hate crime things because they put their symbol out, or whatever. Somebody's going to spray paint a swastika on your house, or whatever. But swastikas go way back. It has nothing to do with Nazis, really. I mean, it does, but it doesn't. It does go to what they found, and that's what we've been showing here. But it's a symbol that grows back long, long, long ago in all these cultures that are surrounding everybody. So it really doesn't have anything to do with that. But so this goddess worship, though, that seems to have like faded and waned away. Of course, in the religion that we're all up under now with Christianity, it was the woman. She did something wrong. See, the woman, she grew from a rib and she ate from a magic tree because a talking snake conned her into it. Right? So it's all their fault. Some way, shape, or form, right? This is the view that's subliminally presented through the idea. So anyhow, women are supposed to be somewhat meek in an idea, and it's possible that some of these cultures, the women caused problems, so they tried to annihilate that situation. It's also possible that once they grew to a bigger society, they needed women being mothers and doing things that women could take care of, and it just changed society, and they weren't quite getting schooled in the exact things anymore, and not the same things, and then of course probably not warfare, and that would also leave them helpless though whenever something could happen. So there's some give and take there that definitely went on. I'll also go as far as to say that Rome and the church at that time began the systematic persecution of women, taking away any power they had in society, including medicines, religion, brewing, and warfare, of course. And eventually you can see that going along where medicine all of a sudden became witches and all this type of things. And women that were, shall we say, widowed, due to warfare and things like that, were quite often targeted and their lands and their things taken away. But that's probably for another video. The Samaritans, or Sarmatians, I'm sorry. What you can tell, these are variations on a theme of these words. But Sarmatians, the people Herodotus believed were the mix of the Amazons and the Scythians, are known to have invaded Gaul and pushed out the Picts. And there are many Roman accounts of the women warriors among those Gauls. The Norse shield maidens are not a myth, and accounts of their participation in known battles is generally not disputed, unlike those of the Amazons. Queen Boudica, because she got that booty, trained as a warrior when she was a child, went on to lead an army of over 10,000, many of them women, against the Romans in Britain. Of course, the Romans described her as a woman who was smarter than most of her gender, which explained her successes, but they still considered her a person not to be dealt with lightly. And so whenever you see a goddess that's a goddess of love, and then she becomes a goddess of war in all these ancient societies, you can see what's actually implied in everything of this that I'm talking about, can't you? So, of her own part, Boudica said, and this was by Tacitus, "We British are used to women commanders in war. I am descended from mighty men, but I am not fighting for my kingdom and my wealth now. I am fighting as an ordinary citizen for my lost freedom, my bruised body, and my outraged daughters. Consider how many of you are fighting and why. Then you will win this battle or perish. That is what I, a woman, plan to do. Let the men live in slavery if they will." And this was Boudica putting it out there. This is almost that same type of Braveheart type of speech, if you will. In 61 AD, Boudica died when she took her own life instead of being captured, and with her died the hope of women all over Europe for social equality in the face of the Roman invasion and the subsequent spread of Christianity shortly after. Perhaps Boudica represents the last great stand of descendants of the Amazons and the tattooed warriors of the steppes who rode into battle together, a man and a woman side by side, against the new societies where women were seen as weak and inferior, and their great deeds in history were just turned into myths. And I would agree that a lot of this has just been turned into myths. Her references here: Encyclopedia of the Amazons and the Amazon Dans. Danes or Dans, the history of Dans and fables. So how does that work out? Well, that's French. And the Danube. The real Scythians of Mesopotamia. Fred Homery. Histories of Herodotus by Rawlinson, so she's using the 1885 version. Scythians in Ancient World by Gill. Scythian Chumele. Origins of the Picts and the Scots. Hal McGregor. Origins of the clan Gregor. And this is where he found out that. And I know somebody that actually traced theirs back too, and have a name very similar to that. And their name comes out to being a type of royal guard. And mine has connections into that same area too. The Boudica chapters, Isha Basi, heroines of history. So there we go, guys. There's part 4 of this. And again, I have that other one. I don't know if I put it out before this and y'all have already seen it, or I might put it out after this one. It's not really directly connected, but then again, it somewhat is. And it's got a few more points in it that I could make and that we all need to know. So again, like, share, and subscribe, and enjoy. And again, if you haven't watched the first videos or want to go back through them again and comment, in your top right-hand corner, it's going to come up with part 1. In your top left-hand corner, I'll just do a recent video that may or may not have connections to something that might pique your interest. More about these Proto-Indo-Europeans probably here. Anyhow, guys, peace.